What's up YouTube? I'm Mike, and today, shockingly, I'm talking about Trenbolone again. I've even got my Trenbolone Breakfast of Champions shirt on. I've talked in the past about where I got this shirt, and then I got somebody messaged me on Instagram the other day saying they wanted to buy my merch, especially the Trenbolone Breakfast for Champions t-shirt. So I am going to offer you guys who've been looking for merch for a very long time some merch. I have access to multiple Trenbolone t-shirts. We've got Trenbolone Breakfast of Champions. We've got one that says, "Yeah, I'm vaccinated," with Trenbolone bottles on it. We've got Only Tren with it's kind of a play on the fan site logo. We've got one that has just the Trenbolone molecule on it. We've got a tank top that says Tren Hard, Hit Harder, with a guy like pumping the harder. We've got All I Need Is Tren with a bottle of Tren on it. We've got Tren with the molecule. We've got one that says Legalized Trenbolone Acetate with a huge bodybuilder on it. We've got finally one that says Trenbolone Zero Limits Max Gains. If you would like any of those Trenbolone merch shirts, then hit me up on Instagram in the comments or on the Discord, and I would be happy to ship you one in any size that you need for $50. And that will come with a personalized note signed, especially for me, Trinity #1. So if you want some Trinity #1 merch, keep in mind, it doesn't say Trinity #1 anywhere on the merch, but I will send you a personalized little note that does say Trinity #1 on it. $50, hit me up, the shirt is yours. Today what we're talking about is, what is the optimal dosing protocol for Trenbolone acetate? I made a video not too long ago talking about my horrible experience with mint acetate. The general consensus in the steroid community is that an acetate ester has a 1 to 2 day half-life. Nobody seems to really know. When you go to research how often should I pen Trenbolone, predominantly what you get, as hard as this is to believe, is guys saying, "Hey, can I pen Trenace twice a week?" Absolutely not. Can I pen Trenace every other day? A lot of people seem to do this. I have been penning Trenace every day because I don't think the ester life is long enough to keep stable serum concentrations in your bloodstream by penning EOD. I reported in my earlier video that got stuck in the approval process for 48 hours, which is why I'm wearing a shirt today. Hopefully this one will get straight to you guys. When I was pinning the Mint Ace, I noticed a come down effect, or what I attributed to a come down effect, about 6 to 8 hours after injecting. Honestly, it was about 6 hours. I would start to feel really just sort of cracked out. I would lose my energy level. I would kind of get that 60-yard stare, or you kind of like just zoned out, don't have a lot of energy, just kind of like in a daze, like just not really sharp anymore. Kind of like you feel when you're coming down off of a substance. And so I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I finally decided, dude, this feels like come down. Maybe if I dose it twice a day, I'll feel better. And that was absolutely game-changing for Mint Ace. Pinning twice a day removed all of the negative effects that I was experiencing in the evening. It would peak in the evening to what felt like full-blown panic. I have been on 0.5 milligram of Xanax for the past 2 years. I have had no dosage creep. I have had no desire to abuse the drug, except last night. That's a different story. And for the first time ever in the 2-year period when I started the Mint, I found myself really looking forward to and needing my Xanax dose at night. So when I started the Tren Ace, I was expecting the same thing to happen, and over the course of the first week, I really wasn't feeling it that badly. I definitely felt better earlier in the day, but later in the day, I thought it was just, I don't know, like it was just peaking in my system. It was building up. Over the course of the last week, the same exact side effects that I was experiencing from the Mint Ace have started to take hold, where about if I pen Tren Ace, usually about anywhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning, by about 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoon, I'm starting to feel a little cracked out, a little spaced out, not really there, don't really have any motivation. I've been struggling to get to the gym at night. Once I get there, my workouts are savage. I hit 3 PRs on chest day last night in the gym. My strength was ungodly, despite the fact that I've taken 300 milligrams of test out of my cycle, and I'm only on 105 milligrams of Tren Ace per week. I have no idea why that tiny amount would be allowing me to set PRs above and beyond what I have been able to do on much stronger cycles. The Tren Ace definitively seems to be a different animal. I cannot figure it out. But I have not been feeling good in the evenings, and I have been dosing my Xanax slightly earlier just so that the time that I'm spending with my wife trying to chill out in bed is more comfortable. So last night I decided I've had enough. I'm just gonna test it. I'm gonna see what happens. So today, I've been pinning 16 milligrams of Tren Ace per day is what I'm up to currently. So this morning I got up about 8 o'clock. I decided to pin the drug. I get up earlier than that, but I pinned it at about 8 o'clock this morning. And by 4 o'clock, I was starting to feel the first signs and symptoms of sort of getting a little bit spaced out, not having the same drive that I had earlier in the day, starting to feel the cracked out feeling. So I decided, okay, right now, before it kicks in, I'm going to go ahead and pin my other half. So I pinned another 8 milligrams about an hour and 15 minutes ago, give or take, about an hour. It was a little bit after 4. And as you can see, I am chock fucking full of energy. It totally halted the come down effect in its tracks, just exactly like with the Mint Ace. I feel exponentially better having pinned a second dose later in the afternoon. Now, will I be able to sleep tonight? That's the big question. Here's the reason that I think the bro science doesn't make any sense. Some people will say, don't pin Tren Ace late in the evening because you're not going to be able to sleep. Well, if the drug really does have a 24-hour half-life, or some people say a 48-hour half-life, and you're pinning it on a regular interval, then you should have a relatively flat amount of hormone in your system. So if you've actually achieved a flat amount of hormone in your system and you're not truly experiencing a bunch of peaks and valleys, then this concept that pinning it later in the evening is going to keep you awake doesn't make any sense. You should have a relatively flat amount of the hormone in your system if you are pinning it sufficiently frequently enough. My estimation is that Tren Ace, much like Mint Ace, does not have nearly as long of a half-life as we think it does. Or, and this is worth mentioning, or in people like me who are very acute, who have a very acute sensitivity to come down effects, maybe this is just me. I did a whole bunch of research when I was in the gym last night looking for any person on earth who could back up my experience. I typed in, should I pin Tren Ace twice a day? What about pinning Tren Ace twice a day? There were several Reddit posts that I came across where somebody asked the question, would it make things more stable if I pinned twice a day? And basically every single one of these people who asked that question just got flamed into oblivion. No one was even willing to talk about it. Most people were saying it's totally unnecessary. It has a 24 to 40 hour half-life. You're not going to get anything extra out of pinning it twice a day. Whether or not you get any more anabolism or muscle building effect or whatever is totally irrelevant to me. I'm still pinning the same amount of drug per day. 16 milligrams per day is what I'm injecting into my system. I feel today substantially fucking better in every measurable metric, having pinned my doses 8 hours apart. So if I wake up and if I pin at say 8 o'clock in the morning and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then if what I am feeling is the come down at the 8 hour mark, I should start feeling the come down right about the time I take my Xanax and sleeping pills and go to sleep. And so my estimation is that it should have zero negative effect on my ability to sleep. So far, the Tren Ace is not affecting my ability to sleep. That being said, I take 15 milligrams of Zopiclone per day to go to sleep. So 15 milligrams of Zopiclone plus a half milligram of Xanax, this is a relatively large amount of sedative-like drugs. While neither of them is technically classed as a sedative, we've got a benzo on one hand and a Z drug on the other. They do have sedative-like properties and undoubtedly help me get to sleep. Those are not, I mean, half a milligram of Xanax is a low dose, but 15 milligrams of Zopiclone is not. It has been tested up to 15 milligrams, but the overwhelming majority of people only need 7.5. But then again, the overwhelming majority of people are also not on a gram and a half of gear. So, for me, 15 milligrams of Zopiclone, half a milligram of Xannies puts me to sleep, absolutely no trouble every single night. And despite waking up because it's unbearably hot in our house, our air conditioner is just not keeping up this summer. I may have to cut this video short at any given moment now because there's an AC guy coming to quote us adding an additional unit because it is 78 degrees in my house right now, which is the AC running at 100%. We have been having 106 degree outdoor temperatures and the AC is not getting the job done. I am literally sweating down the back of my legs sitting in front of this camera right now. So I'm going to keep this short because I don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. I may be back in 3 or 4 days saying, you know, it was just come up again. It didn't last. I don't know. I really don't see how that can happen. If I'm pinning twice a day, even if it is a come up effect, I'm getting the come up twice a day. It should act exactly like the Mint Ace did and allow me to get to bedtime before I start to feel the lack of inspiration, drive, and all of those things. Another thing that's been happening that I'm very interested to test tonight is when I pin the Tren Ace earlier in the day, my drive to chase my wife around the house, see, I'm picking my words very carefully because of the filter. My drive to chase my wife is very strong earlier in the day. And coincidentally, it starts running out around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I pretty much lose interest in anything that has to do with her by that point. And by the time we get to bed, I can absolutely take it or leave it. I wrote a post on Discord last night. I am still suffering from a lot of problems with my D game. I am rapidly becoming afraid that the mint permanently broke me. I think it's mental. I think what I have is a mental block because I've had so many consecutive bad days over the course of the last couple of months that I think that I'm going into the situation with a really negative mindset. I'm constantly like paying attention to the status of the soldier, trying to make sure he is at full arms at all points, and it's basically disconnecting me from the act, and I think that that's possibly what's causing the problem because my E2s are normal. I got the Cialis back in the mix. My prolactin should be normal or very near normal. There's really no physiological reason for me to be having the problems that I'm having. So mental is the only thing left. There may be a video coming up from me very soon where I decide to pull way back on the Masteron. I think it is possible that the Masteron is having an anti-prolactin effect in my body. I've done some research on this. I have been trying to return my body to the state in which it was perfectly functional before. And one of the other things that I changed in my cycle when I went on the Mint is that I added 200 milligrams of Masteron to my cycle. If you look at Masteron on the Wikipedia, it says that it can lower prolactin levels. One of the things that has been so shocking over the past couple of months is I am not taking any Caber at all, and I'm taking Tren and Deca, both of which have been intolerable for me in the absence of cabergoline for the previous 2 years of experiences, and for some reason I don't require the cabergoline. And when I was using cabergoline to offset what I thought was prolactin-induced depression and Deca-D, my Masteron levels were substantially lower. There is some clinical data that suggests that Masteron has an anti-prolactin effect, and I am seriously starting to wonder if that is why it has been so hard for my prolactin to recover, because I have been taking anywhere between 500 and 600 milligrams of Masteron. So I may be doing a video soon where I pull the Masteron out of my system and do some more blood work to see what effect that has on my prolactin. But we will save that for another day. So please, in the comment section, has anyone ever pinned Tren Ace twice a day? For those of you who are pinning it once a day, do you ever experience what I experience, where some point in the evening after pinning early in the morning, you start to lose your edge, you start to get like this, the 50-yard stare, you just feel kind of tired, cracked out, like disinterested, disconnected, almost slightly disassociated? For those of you who are pinning it every other day, can you honestly tell me that that day 2 of no trend does not feel markedly different than day 1? I feel the trend come up very rapidly. Within an hour of pinning my second dose, I was absolutely on fire again. Within an hour of pinning my dose in the morning, I'm absolutely on fire. But 8 hours later, I'm already not feeling the positive effects of the trend. I think the acetate ester requires much more frequent dosing, at least in my system. Please, in the comments section, tell me what your experience has been. And as always, thank you for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.